Welcome back to the Blue Chip Breakdown, Vols fans. Sorry that it has taken so long to get this video out. We went through a lot of technical difficulties, so many different things, can't even name it off, but we had to basically redo this entire video. So we're going to start it off, with the orange and white game. Just speaking on the front seven, we're going to start off with the offensive line. I think that's probably where everyone's biggest concern is, or at least it probably should be. What did you see from the film?
I mean, a lot of different moving parts. I thought it was interesting to see that they had Jeremiah Crawford and Dane Davis look like they were running with the ones at tackle. I thought that was pretty interesting. We did see them rotate. They rotated the guys. It's kind of a moving carousel with the O-line, which not sure if they're just trying to find the right combination or just give guys different looks because it almost seems like, we have a bunch of left tackles, but not really any right tackles. And so they're trying to move guys over to the right side, like, Mincy and guys like that, who maybe it's not their natural position, so they're still trying to kind of learn. And it's just like they're trying to find the right combination on the O-line.
Yeah, first thing that I noticed was number one was that Cooper Mays definitely was banged up because he started to struggle. You could see it like on his, I guess maybe around like the third series that he was in. Really saw him struggling, and he was kind of like reaching at his leg. I don't know exactly what his injury was, but definitely something in his legs because he kept reaching down there.
So I think I want to say he rolled his ankle. I can't remember what game it was. It was last year. I think it might be that same injury from last year. He kind of got rolled up on. I think so.
Yeah. So he looked good whenever he was whenever he was feeling good. I guess he was looking really good. But great news is I was about to call him K. Cooper Mays is who he is. He's going to be a dog. He's probably the most solid piece on that line. And behind him, Addison Nichols looks really good playing center. Bison Lang looked pretty good playing center. And what we had, Ball was the fourth center.
Mark Ball, yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't look great there. But outside of the center, we've got, our guards look good. I think that the biggest competition right now on the offensive line is going to be between Andrej Karic and Addison Nichols. I don't know who's going to start there. I would probably give the slight edge to Addison Nichols. He looks a little bit more physical at the point of contact.
I think so too. But you can't forget about Ollie Lane. So he was out for the spring game. Right. So I mean, we kind of got three guys there. Potentially that could be. They all look good. I think Karic looked good. Nichols looked good. I obviously didn't see Ollie Lane, but even like you said, I feel good about the interior of the O line more so than the tackles.
Absolutely. So, and then too, we got Spraggs. Spraggs looks really good playing at that right guard. And then, like you said, Ollie Lane looks good. Riddick looked decent. Pretty much like outside of those top three or four guards, it is a bit of a drop off. I would say that the inside of our line from center to both guards, the starting few is probably, I would give him like an 80, maybe even an 82 overall. Something like that. Yeah,
I think that's fair. Could be more athletic, but I think they're pretty good. Movers. They can move bodies pretty well. But I think that's where you want to be the strongest is in your interior. You don't want to get pressure up the middle.
Absolutely.
But you also want to protect those edges as well. So we got to get those tackles figured out. Which I guess we'll touch on that here in just a second.
Well, shoot, you know what? You went on ahead and led on into it. Those tackles. I'm gonna tell y'all, Vol fans. I'm just going to be honest with you. I think we've got a pretty serious problem right there. John Campbell didn't look great. He didn't look terrible, but there's a lot in his game that I'm seeing some flaws and some holes in. His footwork really with him and with Mincy, I'm seeing a whole lot of technique issues. Mincy actually looked really, really good playing at left tackle. And for some reason, once he went to right tackle, he got a lot more reps there, so maybe that's why. But I just kind of saw it just was almost like he just didn't even want to play there. It was, you know what I mean? Like his technique was just really terrible.
Yeah, I saw that too. As a play in particular, him and James Pierce were kind of brother-in-law on it, and neither one of them went hard. It was a key 3rd and 5, I want to say. Neither one of them went hard. So, we have to figure out that, in particular that right tackle position. But I went back and watched it. John Campbell, to me, he did show some plays he kind of got spun around and stuff. But I think he may have been our best looking tackle. Like when I really went back and watched it.
Yeah.
Out of the guys we got.
You know what? I'll say this. when Mincy was playing at left tackle, he looked really good.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
he
he
looked
looked really, really good.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe I'm a little bit confused as to why the staff won't just let him play left and let John or somebody else figure out right tackle.
Right.
Because, I mean, that's really your most important tackle. I do not feel comfortable right now after that spring game putting John Campbell in there. And guys, listen, we watch all of the Tennessee YouTube videos, and anything that has to do with Tennessee football, we're going to watch it. So we see the same content that y'all are also seeing. And a lot of these guys are saying that, hey, it's just a spring game. It doesn't mean anything. But, which is kind of true. But if you know what to look for, you can tell a lot by that spring game. You're seeing these guys in live action. And I'm going to tell you, John Campbell is going to be a problem playing left tackle against some of these. And I'm thinking about the Georgias, Alabamas, Texas A&M,
right?
Who's got a whole lot of guys.
Yeah.
And they're going to be good. They're going to be a lot better than they were last season. It's not going to be the same team. So we've got 3 very good teams, especially coming off of that edge. You have to deal with not every single game, but we're going to have to deal with throughout this season.
Right, yeah. I mean, I feel like even South Carolina has a few highly recruited kind of edge rushers.
Everybody's got a few
guys. Everybody's got them,
We'll have to see it pretty much week to week.
Yeah, it's week in, week out in SEC. But, I mean, it is still spring. I've seen firsthand. So, for those who don't know, I went to Vanderbilt. I played there. And I remember going up there before I had enrolled, went to the spring game. I remember thinking just from the spring game, I'm going to come here and start. We look so bad, but they improve. You're going to be surprised how much these guys can improve from spring to actual start of the season. So, I mean, there's still a lot of time, but yeah, if we were to play a game tomorrow, I wouldn't like our odds to, hold the edge with John Campbell and Mincy or whoever, Dane Davis, whoever it is. I don't really like any of our tackles right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, they all look pretty sloppy. And then I'm sure that you saw that we did offer a tackle. I think he's from Wyoming, I want to say. I don't know what his name is. I haven't seen film on him yet, but that does just kind of speak to the staff sees the same thing that everybody else is seeing, that we do have a little bit of a problem right there at tackle. Now, Shamarad Umarov is a guy that he didn't, for some reason, he wasn't playing early on. I did see him work with the threes to start off, and I think that he got in with what I would consider to be the second string group, and he looked pretty solid there. We do have another, potential tackle coming in over the summer in Aiden Bustle, who I'm huge on. I think that he can definitely, even if he's not fitting in at tackle, he can fit in somewhere on that line, and maybe we can move somebody else out. Jeremiah Crawford. He looked kind of like Jeremiah Crawford. You know what I mean? He looked like what he was like last season.
Yeah.
What do you think about maybe? I mean, do you think we could slide him in at guard? And you know what I mean? Because I think that he could really be better than both of those other 2 guards if he slid in there.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm not sure. I don't know. He's a guy. He like I say, he is who he is. He's your typical C plus type of guy. I mean, I don't know if he's really got the strength, to really be a good, body mover inside. I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure what his measurables are. But I mean, potentially. But like we said earlier, I kind of feel good about guard.
Yeah, guard's good.
We just really forgot those tackles, in my opinion.
Yeah, so that's definitely going to be a work in progress, and like Pete was saying, they're going to grow a lot. I think a big part of it too was, and this is not just for the offensive line, but I would say for both lines of scrimmage, it looked like they started to get gas towards the end of practice, towards the end of the scrimmage. And, once you start going through these 2-a-days, which is really 3-a-days, where you are literally, it's football from, 5 a.m., 6 a.m. to like 12 to 1 every night. It's like it's like you're going to wake up, you're going to go eat, you're going to have practice, you're going to, watch some film probably or something like that.
Or a workout in there.
Yeah, workout, eat. You might have a little bit of time to take a nap if you eat real fast, back out practicing, so, and then you're actually going to do that same thing again. I don't know. I don't know if y'all did it, but what we did is we would do that third practice with like a tennis ball or something, that it wasn't technically football practice. You know what I mean? So that's how we got around it.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's a common thing.
Yeah. So like when we played, I don't think we did 3 days. So we did 2-a-days, but like it was kind of 3 days because we would have that team lift in there as well. So you practice twice and you lift. You got to make sure you're getting to your team meals that you have. You have meetings all throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, yeah, like your whole day, and you still have school too. You know what I mean? So for a lot of these guys, I mean, it's literally like he said, from 5-6 a.m. till late at night. You know what I mean? So that's why we'll see the improvement that we see.
Right, and that's why they're going to grow a lot. Like so, but just going off of, and that's kind of like in my foresight, right? I'm looking at that. I'm like, okay, this is where they are right now. This is where I expect for them to jump to. Maybe like by the end of summer, and then going into fall camp. Where do I see them being? And I do still, just going to be completely honest. I think that we could have a little bit of a problem at tackle, but also too, I mean, like if you look at our first game against Pitt, our offensive line didn't look great, even though I think Pitt might have had the best pass rush in the entire country maybe last year. They were at least probably top 5. They had a lot of good pass rushers, but the offensive line will continue to gel. So that's a spot where they'll get better as the season wears on. So not a huge cause to, I mean, the sky's not falling, but I would definitely say that's the most concerning part of this team. Now moving to the opposite side of the football on that D line, I would say that given the way that given my temperature on the tackles, I would say that our pass rush needs to pick it up. You know what I mean? Because I don't know how many sacks we had, maybe 2 or 3, but just getting sacks from the literal ends or from the D line, it wasn't very many.
Yeah, and I mean, it seemed like it was a lot of. We saw Joshua Josephs, who's a younger guy. He hadn't really gotten a lot of experience. We saw James Pierce a lot, who obviously hasn't really played at all on defense. I feel like we just don't really have a ton of experience there. We have Roman Harrison, we have Tyler Barron. But I'm trying to think of who else we have that we consider experienced off the edge.
If you're talking about the edge, yeah. I mean, that sounds like that's pretty much it. And we do have some good guys coming in. Obviously David Hobbs has been out, or he was out all of spring. I think that he will give us a little bit of a boost there to rush the passer. But like we was talking about, I don't see him as much of an edge rusher. I see him as almost like a Tyler Barron 2.0, where he's a lot more of a bull rusher. Not a whole lot of quick twitch to his game. It's a whole lot of strength. And I see him being more of a run stopping end and maybe more of a pass rushing tackle.
Yeah. Bump him inside. I think, similar to Tyler Barron, you see he's much more effective inside as far as rushing the passers. Yeah, I could see Hobbs, being similar there. And we also have Shadavian Bradley coming in, who he's definitely a guy you wish would have gotten here in the spring
earlier, yeah,
because he's definitely a guy who needs to be hitting the weights and hitting the the middle table and stuff like that. But and your guy Weathersby,
yep.
He's coming.
So and I think that he's going to end up being the best pass rusher in this entire class. Wow. He's coming in at prototype size. As a true freshman to be able to rush that passer coming off of the edge, and he's very twitchy. He's a quick twitch guy. So I could really see him coming off of that edge. So, but we haven't seen them yet, so it's kind of hard to say what they're going to do. Yeah. But with what we did see, Joshua Josephs, he flashed a ton. Yeah. He looked really, really good. Like you said, James Pierce also looked good. Harrison didn't, he didn't do a whole lot. I'm still waiting on him to kind of take that next step.
Yeah, he's one, man. He's he's been here, this is his 5th year or so, 4th, 5th year. Like, he's a guy, if he gets invited to the combine, he's going to test out of the water. He's going to run well. He's going to be strong, all that stuff. But some guys are just, for whatever reason, it doesn't quite click for them on the field. They can't quite make the impact that they should. And yeah, like you said, I'm hoping that he can take that next step this year because he has all the tools to be our guy. And, we saw some flashes last year from him. You see a couple flashes in the spring game where he can, show his quickness, show his strength, get around the edge. I just want to see him be consistent with him. Yeah, that's the big thing because he's supposed to be our guy. He's our most senior guy on the edge. You expect him to really be an impact and potentially be our sack leader for this team.
Yeah. So I mean, like we've been saying, there's a lot that can happen between now and the start of the season. So we'd definitely love to see. I don't care who it is, anybody step up. Yeah. Obviously Caleb Herring, that's another guy that once he does get the opportunity to get back on the field and really get back geared up. I've been hearing some great things about him. He looked really good in the clips that we were able to see. This kind of could be a little bit of a gift for him because he is still trying to gain that weight. If he's not, he was, I think he missed maybe like the last week and a half or something like that of spring ball. So, he's definitely going to be able to gain a good amount of weight going into summer ball. And He's definitely going to trim up any bad weight that he gained over
Yeah.
summertime,
Yeah.
and he's going to be able to put it all together.
Yeah, the staff, the staff seems really like him. It seems like he has the right practice habits, and I'm sure having his older brother and Elijah Herring there kind of helps hold him accountable. I can imagine if you were there, and I came in, a year later, like, I'm going to be on my P's and Q's knowing that you're there, right? So, and they say he's in the facility all the time, watching film, doing all types of things to get better off the field, and that's type of stuff I want to see, especially from these young guys. So he's a guy. Don't be surprised if he really factors in early.
I think that he definitely will, especially if you look at the way that Coach Gardner likes to rotate. I mean, he keeps them fresh, so we're going to rotate as often as we can with that line. So there's a lot of people there that should have a good shot to show what they can do. And I'm just curious to see who those guys are going to be when it's crunch time. But that's definitely yet to be seen. We'll have it figured out by the time we play Florida.
Oh yeah,
I mean, we should have that figured out. So that's a good thing. Moving to the inside, Big O, he's solid. He's gonna do what he always does. Was hoping to see a little bit more out of Eason.
Yeah.
Didn't see a lot of pop or flash out of him. I think he needs to gain a little bit more weight or just get like a little bit stronger.
Yeah,
upper body.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he weighs, but yeah, he's obviously a guy came in as a linebacker out of high school. Was came in like 250 or something. He was a big linebacker. He was a linebacker. But yeah, he's a guy I'm expecting big things from this year. You know what I mean? Like, he flashed last season. And so I want to see him, really take that next step and be a disruptive guy. Because I think we don't really have necessarily that quick twitch. I feel like you have those quick twitch interior guys. And that's really where you really get pressure up the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Norman Lott fits that description.
Yeah.
But I would like to see that from Bryson Eason as well as another guy that can really get loose in the middle.
Absolutely. So, you know what? Speaking of Omar Norman Lott, he had a really good series. What I've noticed about him is that if he starts off a series, once he gets some confidence, once he makes one good play, it's good to try to leave him in because he plays hard.
Feeds off
that. Yeah, like he feeds off of that type of energy. So that's kind of like a gift and it's a curse. That's something that we also saw in his film coming from Arizona State. But he definitely has that quick twitch. I think that we do have a few guys on the inside. Like Tyree West is another one. Whenever he rotates to the inside, he's got that quicker twitch. Didn't see a whole lot out of him. I didn't see a whole lot out of him whenever he was playing in, but once he bumped in, I kind of saw him flashing, making some plays.
Yeah. He's another one I keep forgetting about him. I always forget about him, but yeah, he's a guy I'm excited about too. He's inconsistent. He's still young, but he does flash. He's quick twitch. And I mean, he looks like he's really kind of rocked up over the offseason. He seems real cut up. He's leaned up and stuff. So hopefully he can take another step. I mean, we have a lot of guys that are kind of on the cusp of being where we need them to be. We just need those guys to take the next step. And we won't really know until we play our first game against Virginia.
Yeah, so that should definitely be a blowout. I got a chance to watch some of their spring ball, and I only watched maybe 10 minutes of one practice, and I said, no, this is going to be. There's no way. I mean, we should win that game by 30 or 40 points. Second string coming in pretty early on that one. Second, third, fourth string. I mean, everybody should get to play in that game. So moving on, I guess, should we go to the backers?
Yeah.
You want to start talking about backers? So obviously, Keenan Pili was out. Aaron Beasley also was out. Herring looked really good. Herring and Caleb Perry, I think that they started off playing together. Caleb Perry looked pretty solid. I would say that Caleb Perry right now is probably linebacker number 5. He looked pretty good in coverage. I would say that as of right now, it's probably Aaron Beasley, Keenan Pili, Herring, and then I would say that it is Arion Carter.
Yeah, I'd agree there. You saw Caleb Perry, like, he seems to, like, when you listen to him talk, you can tell how smart he is, intellectual, and you kind of see it on the field. He seems like he identifies plays quickly, gets to the ball quickly, but he's not making a tackle. Like, he'll overrun it or something like that. Like, so he just has to kind of fine-tune that part of it, but he does identify things quickly. But definitely you saw Elijah Herring flash. He had a series where he made, 2 or 3 tackles in a row, beating the block, sticking he stuck Cam Selton one good time. I mean, he flashes, and he looks like he's kind of ready to take that next step for him. And Aaron Carter, I know he had at least 1 sack. He might have had like 2 or 3. He had a couple sacks blitzing up the middle.
I'm going to tell you, so I know that he had that one blitzing up the middle, but he actually could have had at least 2. So I saw one. I want to say that Milton was the quarterback, and he was coming on a blitz, and he actually throttled it down. But if he would have been going full speed, if it was live action, that probably would have been a sack. He's very, he was able to, make the quarterback have to get the ball out of their hands a lot quicker than they wanted to several times. But in his first series playing, I think he made like first, second, and third down. He made a play on all those downs. Literally, and this is a very common theme, or this is going to be as we go throughout this pod. But notice with those freshmen, they look exactly like what we thought they would look like. They literally look like their high school film in college.
Yeah.
And so that's really, really big just to see that. But, just to kind of Arian Carter, like we talked about in his film, how he would beat the running backs to the hole. I think it was on his first play in, you see him doing that. And he did it up against Cam Selden. He's beating blocks quickly and it's like effortless. It's almost like he just like shoos them away like a fly or something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's great at that. Herring is really good at that. Saw him, sidestep. I think it was it Spragues, or it actually might have been Mincy.
I think it was
Did you see
Mincy. I
that?
remember
Yeah,
that.
Mincy,
That's what I'm
yeah.
talking when he stuck Camp 7. Yeah.
So I think what was Mincy pulling on that play?
I want to say he was.
Yeah.
I want to say he was.
And
yeah.
Herring just like real smooth, he's just sidestepped him. That's the kind of stuff that you want to see. Like those are the kinds of things that you can tell in a spring practice or in any practice what a guy can do in these types of situations. So they look really good. The underclassmen look really good. Jalen Smith made a lot of plays. He's actually the one that punched that fumble out against I think it was Weary on the sidelines.
Was it Weary?
There. Yeah, Weary.
Okay. Yeah. He looked good. I like him a lot. I think he's a guy. He may not get to play a lot this season, but I think he's a guy. When his number's called, I think he'll be ready to go.
He's definitely gonna be ready. Yeah.
And T. Leonard's another one. He's a guy we saw. He's plays just like he does on his high school film. He flies around, is physical. Takes on the running back head on. Run right over you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I don't remember exactly where this play is at in the film. I want to say maybe it was like somewhere in the second quarter, but you'll see him taking on a block. Like literally, he can kind of get into personal battle, so we got to be kind of careful with him. But you'll see him if you just go back and watch the film and just watch him. You'll see him pushing people after the play, and he's just got that dog, just typical Georgia player. He plays with that chip, plays with that edge, and I absolutely love that about him. But like you said, Pete, he definitely looks just like how he looked in his high school film. He looks great blitzing. Coming off of the edge, coming inside, he does an excellent job blitzing. He's got a real knack for that.
Yeah. He's a high motor guy. He's a high motor guy. He's a typical guy you want on your team. You know what I mean?
Gotta have him.
I kind of like those guys that like those personal. They get in those personal battles.
Yeah.
You need a little bit of that. I think
you definitely gotta have it.
You heard Jerome Carvin touched on it either last year or the year before. They interviewed him about Spraggins and said, "Hey, are you gonna get on your offensive lineman about these personal flags?" He said, "No. Like, I love guys playing with that chip. You know what I mean? Like, you need that chip to really get to that next level. You need that chip on your shoulder to play that edge. So, love to see that from T. Leonard.
Absolutely. And then just going back to Jalen Smith, what I did notice about him is that he looks a step slower than he did on his high school film. I can tell that he's gained a lot of weight. Like, he gained a good amount of weight from the time that he was in high school to the time that he got on campus. So, I would say that he probably gained a little bit of bad weight. But so, he's got the time right now, I would say, to put in that work and to try to get his body composition back together. And obviously going through summer ball is really going to get back tightened up. And once he can play with the speed that he had in high school, I think he's going to be very, very dominant. We're very deep at backer. We've got a lot of options. Even down to the third string guys. We're looking good there.
I was going to say, we didn't even get to see our two starters. Like, I think Beasley and Peely, as good as Arian Carter and Elijah Herring look, I think that they're a whole nother level above those guys.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
I just think when they get in there, the defense is going to look so much better. So much better with those guys. So can't wait to see them play.
Yeah, super excited about that. So I guess we can flip over to the other side of the ball and we could talk about running backs. Who did you like the most in this scrimmage?
Cam Selden did a lot. He shows he can catch it out of the backfield, can split out wide, can catch it.
He got more touches than anybody on the entire team.
He did. He was good. I think Aaron Rodgers doing the broadcast, he said that he's up to about 220 or so.
Jordan Rodgers.
Let's say Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Jordan Rodgers is up to about 220 now, and he looks good, moves good, can catch the ball. I liked him a lot. I think he'll play this year a lot.
I do too. One of the things is this seeing how many touches he got in this spring game, I think that was kind of the staff trying to see, hey, can he carry this type of a load? Because I do think that he's going to be, I think that he'll probably be running back number 3 behind Small and behind Wright. And I think that Wright might be running back number 1. Probably Small number 2. And then, you put Cam Seldon at number 3. Mm-hmm. Bishop looks really good. He's very sudden. He actually made Jalen Smith miss pretty bad. Remember that? Oh, man, that was a nice cut. Yeah, man, he puts his foot in the ground. And so he looks really good, too. Obviously, Dylan Sampson looks really good as well.
Yeah. I think, that's the thing. We're so deep at that position, but, it's still hard for me to see Cam Seldon overtaking Dylan Sampson as that third guy. I just think Dylan Sampson, he's a similar guy. I think once he gets in game, he's just a big play waiting to happen. I think he's just so quick, so fast, and so smooth. Like, he's so sudden, so smooth. Like, it doesn't like he's running hard, but he's running by everybody. Like,
he's a very, very fluid athlete.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's the thing. It's a good problem to have, but we'll see. I think it'll still be, like you said, Jalen Wright probably our feature guy. Mm-hmm. Now, I think Smalls is going to take a step. I think his shoulder last year, if you notice last season, pretty much every time he got tackled, he had to come out the daggum game, like his shoulder. So him taking all his time off to get that rehab, look for him to, have a bigger role and take another step this year too. So, I think we got those top 2, and then Dylan Sampson as that third guy, and potentially Seldon as that fourth guy, and Bishop as the fifth. If we need him.
Well,
Keith too.
Yeah, so that's the one that. So Keith hasn't even come on campus yet, but he's about 6 feet, 235 pounds, and they've already the coaches have already kind of in their post practice press conferences, they've already pretty much said he's going to be that short yardage guy, and so I'll tell you why I think that Cam Seldon is probably running back number 3. So number 1, he's very, very versatile, right? And you know what? That could even be number 2. I would say number 1 is, with the issues that I'm seeing right now at tackle, the running backs and the tight ends are going to have to help out blocking on the outside. So, that could actually work out for Dylan Sampson because he might know who to pick up better. Mm-hmm. But is he more capable physically to pick up these blitzing linebackers or these defensive ends than Cam Seldon, who's a lot bigger than him? Right. So that's kind of where I'm at. But honestly, I don't care who starts. Give me the best starters. Doesn't matter to me, but I just wanted to throw that out there. I think that that's going to be a huge factor in who's going to be, and what that depth chart looks like for the running backs and for the tight ends.
Yeah, I agree. And kind of like we touched on, kind of, not getting off the subject, but we kind of touched on, wanting to see us go 4 wide, 4 receivers wide with all the talent. How many times, do we incorporate some type of 2-back sets where we have, Dylan Sampson and Cam Seldon, or
that's the next point.
There's so many possibilities with this offense, and so I'm excited to see what Halsley does with it. So he has a lot of tools to play with.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the offense is going to do what it. Yeah, I think that the offense could be better than it was last year. Again, it's almost 100% up to that offensive line. We've got all the skill players everywhere, but we're going to touch on that a little bit more further into the podcast. I did want to, since we kind of brought him up, I wanted to talk about our tight ends. Mm-hmm. So, Castles came in, and he looked really good. He looked about how we thought that he was going to look after watching his film. Literally, you can kind of tell when someone is controlling their man. You can just tell, like, sometimes people just look very comfortable doing what they do. Mm-hmm. So even though he's playing at UC Davis, I had a good feeling that it was going to transfer to this level. Mm. He looks really good blocking. He's running some really good routes, has good hands. Literally looks like the exact same player.
Yeah. I was impressed by him. I did see he had one drop, I want to say, from Milton. Mm-hmm. Milton rifle one across the middle, and it was kind of low, but he could have caught it. It would have been a good catch. So you don't want to see him, clean that up. But yeah, I like him a lot. I think he'll definitely be, one of our key guys. I don't really see a whole lot of Jacob Warren. I know they try to get to him early, first play of the game.
So, I don't know. I was going to say, did Jacob Warren even play?
Wasn't that? I thought they Milton threw it to him on the first play of the game. He overthrew it. I thought it was to Jacob Warren.
I don't know. Maybe it was, but I don't think he even played. I almost want to say that he didn't even play. But, obviously, we know what Jacob Warren is. We know what he's going to give to us. He's an excellent player. So, Ethan Davis surprised the hell out of me.
He looked great.
I didn't think, especially blocking.
He looked great.
That was the thing that kind of like threw me off. he had a couple of pancakes, and he's a tough player, which, I figured, Georgia boy, Of course he's going to come out there playing tough. But he looks very good. I'm very, very, very impressed with him. Hope that he can get better pretty quickly. I'm, thankful that it was a collarbone break, and, sounds like he's going to be back before the start of the season. So we're definitely gonna need it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's the tight end that Heupel's been wanting. You know what I mean? Like, we want that dynamic playmaker at tight end. Right, because we spread the field with their receivers. But tight end, we've been kind of meh. You know what I mean? I think he's kind of that next level guy. You got to account for him. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to put it back on him." You got to kind of put one of your better coverage guys on him, I think. So, we'll see how much he factors in this season. But I mean, the talent's there. You saw the nice catch he had from Nico over the shoulder.
Yeah,
he had a couple nice
catches. He really did.
He looks really good. So excited about him.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? On that one catch where he got hurt, that was Arion Carter that was guarding him. And just like kind of on a positive note, Arion Carter looks really good in coverage. We didn't touch on that, but I did want to point that out. But yeah, so hopefully Ethan Davis comes back. 89 looked really good too.
Oh, yeah, Hunter Salmon.
Yeah. Yep. So Salmon is so. All of our tight ends are doing an excellent job blocking. I think that we're taking a step forward with our tight ends this season, even though we don't have as many players per se. But I do think that once Ethan Davis comes back, we're actually going to be deeper than we were last season.
Yeah.
But I think that that's a spot where we could see some movement in the transfer portal if the right guy, enters into.
Yeah, and just kind of on that same note, by everybody improving in that tight end room, you got to give a shot to that tight end coach. I think he's doing a good job. Seems like he really knows football and knows how to get those guys to play at the level we need them to play at. So
yeah, he's done an outstanding job. So hats off to him. And I guess now we can kind of move on to the secondary. We haven't talked about them. So what did you see out of the secondary? Like, what was your first?
I mean, I felt pretty good. So for the very first play of the game, they tried that deep pass to the tight end, and the guy was open, but it was like the tight end, he did like a fake stock block and then went vertical. It was Wesley Walker rolled down to guard the tight end in the slot. He got beat there, but other than that, I don't think I really saw us really get beat. We seemed like we're pretty tight coverage most of the time.
Yeah,
corner safeties, everybody. So. I mean, I felt good overall about what I saw from the coverage.
Yeah, so I would definitely point out Wesley Walker. You can go ahead and pick him as one of your starting safeties. Yeah, I would say he looked excellent, filling lanes and gets into his run fits well, and you can tell. I mean, he's a strong guy and he does good in coverage. He did have that one lapse, but it's still early, so definitely wouldn't expect that to continue to happen.
It was first play of the game. They probably schemed it up. It was
one of those. Yep. Catch him sleeping. So he looked good. Gabe Judy Lally, he looked solid. One of my biggest things with him this entire spring was how physical is he going to play? And he played very physical. So, I'm very proud of that. Does a good job in zone coverage. He looked good in man. One of the things that I will say, and I think that this is what the issue has been with our secondary as a whole. I don't think that Coach Martinez is teaching these guys whenever they come up and play press, a lot of times they're not getting their hands on these guys.
Wow.
Do you know how difficult it is to go up against top tier talent? And hey, let's just call it what it is. Our stars at wideout weren't playing. Right. But these guys are still getting beat by, the third, fourth string guys and even some of these walk-ons. I think that a big part of that is with technique. I saw on the pass from Joe Milton to Caleb Webb, if you go back and watch it, Gabe Julie Lally, he's playing press inside leverage, doesn't even get his hands on Caleb at all. And he gets beat off of the line of scrimmage. Thank God that Wesley Walker was there to, at least kind of slow it down, because that could have been a very easy 6 points.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you don't get your hands on the guy, you're basically giving him a free release. Like you're facing this way, he's facing the other way, and you're basically gonna just turn and start running. Like as soon as it's impossible.
That's almost that's extremely difficult to do. People. I mean, obviously, Prime Time is the best cornerback of all time. Yeah. What I think maybe some people may not know if you didn't get a chance to watch him is that he played a whole lot of bump and run, but he was bumping. Like he was very physical at the line of scrimmage, and he's probably him and Bo Jackson are probably like the two greatest athletes to ever play this game.
Right.
So I mean. If they had to get their hands on him, there's no excuse. I mean, if you're gonna come into the line of scrimmage, you better be able to some type of way slow that guy down. So anyway, I wanted to harp on that because that's something that if anybody knows Coach Martinez, we cannot go into this season. I'm gonna lose my mind if I see us out there playing bump run and we're not getting physical.
And it's funny you say that because I saw a clip of practice, and we're doing like cover 2 releases, and we weren't getting our hands on the guy. Like we're a cover 2, and we're kind of just
that's inexcusable,
letting them run by. Like I remember when I played, like we really put a huge emphasis on if it's cover 2, you've got to collision.
You got to slow them down. You got to get the safety time. You can't just not. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's been a big problem with the secondary. It's just fundamental stuff. It's technique stuff. And it's really elementary school fundamental and technique stuff. So I don't understand what the mindset is on that. But that needs to be changed. It needs to be changed immediately.
Yeah.
But so, just moving on, I think that our freshman looked really good. Christian Conyer, he looked good. He's such a long guy. He made a couple of good plays.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of me a little bit, kind of a ranger, like a longer ranger guy, not necessarily, the biggest guy, but his long limbed. You saw him have that play, bats it, tips it up, get tipped drill pick by Cameron Miller.
Yeah, Cameron Miller.
So, I mean, he looked good. You saw John Slaughter flash, coming downhill from safety. I mean, I think in general, the safeties look good. Something you touched on earlier with their run fits. That's something I noticed is we're filling those lanes a lot quicker.
Yeah.
We're not just kind of sitting back and giving this guy 5-6 yards. Like we're coming downhill, meeting him at the line of scrimmage almost from the safety position. And you saw that from Tank, you saw it from Wesley Walker, John Slaughter, all those guys really. Yeah. So
T-Mac.
T-Mac. So, I think Tim Banks is doing a great job getting those guys ready to play.
For sure. So, the safeties look really good. Christian Charles looked good playing star. We saw Christian Harrison move down to corner. He was going up against the threes, but he looked good there. He's really physical. Now, he's one of the guys that at the line of scrimmage, he is physical. That's obviously something that he learned from his dad.
Right.
Hopefully we can keep him. Secondary is a spot where we'll probably see some transfers because we're so deep there. We've got a lot of good players. Jordan Thomas, that's your guy.
Yeah, that's my guy, yeah. Yeah, we didn't see him, did we?
I don't remember seeing him. Yeah, no, I don't remember seeing him play at all. But, he's definitely really, really good playing safety. Tank actually looked pretty good, which is great. I know that, just to be honest, the coaching staff is probably kind of tired of him. I mean, you can just kind of tell from listening to some of their, comments in the different interviews and things like that they seem to be a little bit tired of him. And, it's just a question of, are they going to go on ahead and put some of these younger guys in there that may be a little bit more capable?
And see, I don't know. I feel like Tank's a guy, he's just good enough that you can't quite bench him, you know what I mean? Because he's been there and he knows the coverages, knows the plays, probably going to make many mistakes. But you like the upside of the John Slaughter type guys more, those type of guys, the Jordan Thomas, the 6'2", 210, 15-pound guys. Like, you like that a little bit more than what you get from Tank. But, I mean, I don't know. I kind of feel like Tank may have a big year this year. I think when he came back, he was suspended last year for a few games. He came back and, you kind of noticed him. Like, he kind of made some plays, kind of made some impact. So, maybe we've been a little hard on the guy. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. I think a lot of that was, just to go back to last year, was that Trayvon Flowers, man. Yeah. He was really soft. I mean,
glad he's gone.
Yeah.
We got better when he left.
Yeah, we sure did. So, but yeah, I mean, John Slaughter looks good. Nico Slaughter looks good. Like I said, we've got a lot of guys back there, and those underclassmen look really good. Those freshmen, all of our new guys, and we can actually talk about that now. Jordan Matthews looked good. Saw him a lot with the threes. I think he rotated in some with the twos as well. He looked good. He's another physical guy. Ricky Gibson looked really good playing corner. Does an excellent job of staying on top of routes. And he's one of those guys that even if he gets beat for some reason, it's like he just has that luck where it's either like a bad thrown ball or the wide out drops it or something. He's one of those guys.
Yeah, you can't overstate that. Like that. That is something. You know what I mean? Like
that is definitely something to that. Sometimes like the universe just favors certain people, and it seems like it definitely favors him. Yeah. So he's a guy that I would really like to see get some burn. Wherever we can get it to him. Obviously, Warren is. He's hurt. He didn't get to play, but I think he's going to factor into it. So we've got plenty of options. Haddon looked really good. I like what I saw on him. But you know what? I'm going to tell you something about Haddon, though. He's the stickiest player I think I've ever seen, isn't he? Like, for some reason, whenever people get their hands on him, he can't get off of it. Yeah. He needs to literally, before games, take you a light little layer of some Vaseline and rub it on your jersey or something because he does not get off blocks.
They clamp down on him tight, but yeah, I mean, he is a pretty good cover guy. He's just he needs to put a limit on his talking that he does. He does a lot of talking. even when there's no need for it. You got beat, but the guy dropped it or was overthrown. Like, we don't want to see you over here, getting in his face. You know what I mean?
Yeah, chirping about it like he did in that South Carolina game. I think everybody really hated it. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of stuff right there pisses you off. But anyway, I think that he's going to do better this year. I actually heard that he hasn't been as overly vocal this season. He hasn't been doing as much chirping. Yeah. So
Coach probably told him, "Hey, you gotta cut that out, son. You're out of here."
Yeah. So hopefully he doesn't transfer either. I would like to retain as many guys as possible because football season, you never know what's going to happen. You need as many bodies as you could possibly have. But I just think that it's probably unrealistic that we don't lose any of those secondary guys. It's just too many good ones.
Yeah, and we had a few that even play, like Turnage. A couple of guys even play. Brandon Turnage. Just a couple of guys even play. So
no. You know what? Turnage did play.
Oh, did he play?
Yeah.
I saw he was listed as out for the game. Okay.
Turnage is 17, right?
No, that's turn time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, turn time. Yeah, he's known that flash a little bit at state. I keep forgetting about him too. Yeah.
Turn looked pretty solid. He had a couple of lapses, but overall, he's definitely a viable option, as like a backup or like a rotational guy or something like that. So, I think that we're fine there. And, let's just talk about these freshmen because I'm super excited about. Oh, you know what? We didn't even talk about quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
We almost forgot about the quarterbacks.
Yeah, we didn't talk about QBs or receivers, really.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Yeah, we didn't talk about them either. So let's go ahead and get that in. So we can start off with the quarterbacks first. I think that Joe Milton played well. I think that he did a good job in the pocket. The pocket wasn't always clean, but he did a good job of sliding up in the pocket like Coach Heupel says all the time. And, I really liked it. It looked like he was willing to use his legs more than he did last season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he looked really good. He had that first play of the game, he overthrew, which adrenaline's high, that's typical, you see that early in the game, but he seemed like he was pretty accurate. Like, even that first series, we went 3 and out. I can't remember the second play, but the third play, it was like a 10-yard dig to Caleb Webb, drills it in there right in his chest, he drops it, you know what I mean? Like, he was accurate, he looked good. I think if he can play at that level, offense won't drop off at all. And like you said earlier, I think we're going to be even better on offense if he can play like that.
I do too, yeah. So, and then too, I'm sure everybody has heard it by now, but, he said that he can throw the football about like 95 yards.
I believe.
Which, and we kind of, we're kind of talking about it. Watching Nico warming up, we saw him warming up at what you said that was on Twitter, where he's warming up, he's throwing the ball from like the middle of the end zone, so about 5 yards deep in his own end zone. Throws it to like the, 40 or 45.
Yeah, the opposite 40, yeah.
So, that's a 65-ish yard throw.
Easy too.
It was a flick of the wrist. Yeah. So he's got a cannon, and that Joe's arm is significantly stronger than Nico. So,
even like that play that they blew it dead, and Milton still heaves it.
Throw it. Yeah.
That ball it traveled about 65, 70 yards in the air, and he just if you watch him throw it, he's throwing it so effortlessly.
Yeah, it's very effortless.
I think he really can probably throw it 100 yards.
Yeah, he's definitely got a cannon. They were also just kind of talking about that. I think that he clocked in throwing a baseball like 96 miles an hour, and it's like for a guy to be able to do that with probably no baseball or pitching training. He could be a, triple-digit guy as a pitcher.
Well, heck,
sure.
I remember he told a story one time about his high school coach. I guess somehow he picked up a baseball, and his coach saw him throw it. And his football coach came up to him and said, "Don't you ever pick up baseball again." You know what I mean? Because he wanted him to keep playing football. He knew he said, "You can throw it like that, man. You'll be playing MLB."
Big time. Yeah.
So
I think that Joe has a very, very realistic chance of winning the Heisman and of being the number 1 pick in this draft. If he comes out and does what he's supposed to do, if he just stays focused, and which he has been, I think that he literally has a chance to be one of those number 1 picks that, months before the draft, the team has already said, "Hey, we're going to pick you," and everyone knows who he is. I think he has that much separation because if you look at,
like a Will Levis.
Oh, if he
not
even
be
him, but the guy from Florida.
Oh yeah, another
one.
Yeah.
He had a couple of good games last season, but he's that type of a player. He's just a big athlete with a strong arm. Joe's arm is a lot stronger than his is. And
if we have the year we expect to have, which is going 15-0. That goes hand in hand. He will be number 1 pick and Heisman. If the season goes the way we expect it to go, I just don't think that you can have one if I have the other, unless Nico somehow comes in and ends up being the guy. But
I don't know if I even want to get into that type of talk yet.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I mean, no, QB controversy.
Yeah. I don't think that there's much of a controversy right now at this moment. And you know what? Every single quarterback is going to make mistakes. So as soon as Joe does make a mistake, I'm not going to be the one calling for it. I mean, unless he's just doing just like terrible. Like if he keeps on making the same mistakes, then maybe we need to at least see what Nico can offer us. And we're going to talk about Nico in just a second. But I also want to touch on Hendon Hooker. At this point, as this video has been filmed, they're saying that he's not going to pass. He's not going to drop down below number 29 in this draft. So that's huge. I mean, can you imagine what that's going to do for this entire program if you've got Hendon Hooker going in the first round? From what he was before transferring. And then the same thing happens with Joe Milton going, number one. I mean, dude, we should be able to go and handpick any quarterback that we want in the country for a long time because Nico's going to follow suit too. Yeah. Nico's a future Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, when you watch the way that he rolled out and threw that ball to Ethan Davis, man.
I mean, that's tough stuff on his film, and that's why he was number one player in the country on a lot of recruiting sites. Like, he just has that natural ability, just that natural touch, can hit different arm angles. You saw him use his legs a lot. He's a very natural athlete, very gifted
really
athlete.
Fast, yeah.
He's smooth. It doesn't like he's necessarily running that fast, but
very smooth. He stays very poised. He's always very, very poised. Doesn't seem to get rattled. And I think he is a potential first round or number one pick, just, based off of what he ends up doing. But I'm very pleased with what he's doing. Gaston Moore looked really good, as a third string quarterback, very, very accurate, looks like he knows his offense well, looks very comfortable, very, very confident. So I think we're really, really set right there.
And we look great, man. Quarterback, I feel really good about it, and I don't know who you give the credit to. Is it Halsley coaching these guys? Is it Heupel's system? But it just seems like any quarterback that comes to play in this system, they're going to operate at a high level. I mean, that's something you saw. Like, you don't really see interceptions. Like, we saw the one from Gaston Moore, but that was a tip ball. It's good coverage, it's a good throw, but good coverage. Like, you just don't see these guys make mistakes. And I don't know, man. I just feel like Halsley's a great QB coach.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he might be the best in this nation. It's really funny to hear, Kirby talking about, our quarterback situation when, hey, buddy, your guy Stetson Bennett won 2 national championships back to back in your complicated system, that puts so much pressure on the quarterback. And he's probably, not going to get, he might get drafted in the 3rd round is what they're kind of saying now. But I think that they're just kind of saying that. He's a prototypical backup for the duration of his time in the NFL if he even makes it there. He's never going to be a starter. He's not that kind of a player. So, but now, on the flip side, our guys in this quarterback-friendly offense, NFL scouts seem to love him. So, I mean, why would you even try to go play quarterback at Georgia is my question. That great offensive coordinator is gone. They got Mike Bobo there now. I mean, it's really a joke if you ask me. Yeah. If any quarterback worked there, weight and salt shouldn't be trying to go to Georgia to play quarterback.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just like you touched on. Us having a first round draft pick, a quarterback this year in Hendon Hooker, potentially number 1 draft pick next year in Milton, and then a couple years later, Nico figures to be a first rounder too. So I mean, I think, like you said, and Milton and Hooker were transfers, so I think we're going to be appealing to recruits out of high school and to anybody that enters the portal, that wants to come find a new home. So I think we'll be set at quarterback as long as we have Heupel. I think quarterback be a non-factor for us.
So moving on to the wideouts, obviously we had all the starters were hurt, so it's not much to talk about there. Chaz Nimrod looked good. He looked pretty good. He had that one series where he had a couple of drops in some critical situations. Yeah. And, Caleb Webb finally, flashed and showed us a little something. But, outside of that, really, there's a bunch of walk-on guys and, guys that probably won't factor in. Oh, you know what? Nathan.
Leacock.
Yep. So Leacock looked good, in the few plays that he got to get in there, and so pretty much outside of that,
I felt like they looked pretty solid. Routes looked pretty crisp. Like I said, Nimrod had a couple drops on that same series, and once again, talk about Joe Milton, beautiful throws by him. Tight coverage. I'm sure he's lasering it in there, but these guys got to make those catches, those tough, especially playing SEC ball. We're going, playing Georgia, Bama, these type of guys.
it's likely going to be tight coverage. Mm-hmm. It's likely going to be, pressure kind of in the quarterback space. He's going to have to zip it into a tight window. So you've got to make those type of catches. But, these guys are backups, Nimrod, Webb, they're backups, and it is still spring. You expect them to take some steps, during the summer as we approach the season. Yeah. But man, I cannot wait to see, Dante Thornton, Samil Key, Squirrel, Bruce, see all those guys. I mean, that's why, this offense, I think, could be, like you said, even better than last year, which is crazy to think.
I think that it will be. We're definitely better on paper on both sides of the football.
Yeah.
So, I think that there really is no reason that we, shouldn't be better. Well, the only part, like we touched on at the start of this, is with the offensive line. So
it's a huge deal.
That's a really big deal. So we'll see how everything pans out with that. Now, with special teams, what's that? Jackson Ross. Mm-hmm. Really, I wasn't impressed with what I saw out of those guys. Jackson Ross, he had one good punt that I saw. I probably didn't pay a whole lot of attention.
So I went back to watch. So his first punt, it traveled 50 yards in the air. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing that statistically they would measure it from the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. So I think it's like 35 yards,
which is not good.
It's not good at all. But I thought he had another punt that went like 60-something yards, like 60 yards in the air. Mm-hmm. So I think he does have a strong leg. Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't know. We haven't really seen enough to really make a determination. But I think he has a strong leg. He just has to be more consistent.
He's got to be very consistent. That's really, and I think that's the biggest frustration with that whole specialist group is that all you're doing all day is you're doing one thing. Right. You're kicking and you're punting. Mm-hmm. This should be very, very, very consistent. But for some reason, it's like sometimes it's just not. But anyway, did you get to see Charles Campbell kick? I don't remember him coming in. I don't remember. I think he might have. I was gonna say, I think he might have did like some extra points.
I can't remember. Yeah,
I can't really either. But hopefully, that's a huge part of this thing. That's a huge part of this team. We got to have a lot of consistency and production from both of those guys for this team to go as far as we want them to go. So, hopefully they can get it together by the start of the season. But that's pretty much it. I also would just like to say that again, we kind of touched on it earlier briefly, but our freshman class looks really, really good. We've got more guys that are coming that I really think can help this team out moving forward. And, the future is really, really, really bright. The staff is doing an excellent job of finding the correct pieces to fit into this system on both sides of the football. And, I see no reason that we don't, potentially we could start having these runs like the Georgias and like the Bamas. Because, let's just say this. Like I saw, read this article where Feinbaum is saying that, hey, Tennessee's catching up to Georgia. Well, we were way behind them from a talent perspective last season. You saw that we barely lost to them. I think that we're going to outcoach them. I think we're going to outcoach them on a consistent basis. Once we get enough pieces, I think this year we have enough. Mm-hmm. We should be able to go ahead. I think that this year is the year that we knock them off and we beat Bama and Florida. Yeah. We run the tables this season. I think that we can do it.
We definitely have that potential. I really do believe that. It just seems like there's a lot of buzz. There's been a lot of buzz around this program, but it's like every recruit that comes up there, they love the visit. Mm-hmm. They love the coaching staff. You hear these guys raving about how intense practice is. They love how it's run. They love the way these guys coach. Mm-hmm. It just seems like everybody just loves what this program's doing. And so I think talent's going to only get better. Mm-hmm. We're doing it now with pretty solid talent, but just wait till we have a talent that's, commensurate with like a Georgia or a Bama, like 5 stars across the board, O-line, D-line, special teams. It's gonna be fun to watch.
It's gonna be a whole lot of fun. Like, just think if this staff had Georgia's roster and if Georgia's staff had our roster, that game would be a 30-point blowout.
Oh, easy.
So that just kind of goes to show how much better this coaching staff is. So very, very proud of this staff. I'm proud of everybody that's part of Ball Nation. Proud of the fans for showing up to this orange and white game, almost 60,000 fans, and half of the stadium, or like a big portion of the stadium was actually closed off. So that's excellent, and we just got to keep this thing going. Everybody's got to do their part, pull their weight. As fans, whatever we can do, we have to do it, and I'm sure that we will. And I think that's it. Do you have any closing thoughts?
No, I'm excited for the season. Excited to see how much better this team gets from now until we see them in the summer, in the fall.
Yep. And so we will have a lot more content coming out. We're going to try to put out some podcasts once a week. That's the goal, at least one every week. And, we will continue with all of the regular content as well. Moving into the summer around June-ish, we should start to see more players coming in from the 2024 class. So looking forward to that. And as always, guys, thank y'all so much for watching, for tuning in, and for being loyal to this channel, loyal to these Vols. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Give us a follow on IG. If you'd like to listen to a podcast, we're on every major streaming platform. Everything is at Blue Chip Breakdown. Thank y'all so much, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.